Good morning, Sally. Lovely to be back with you again.
Hey, Harry, it's been a
And
couple of weeks. Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
And happy winter. We've made it.
yes, indeed, winter again.
Mhm.
It's my birthday month, so that's not too bad.
Woohoo! They say it's your birthday.
So we're going to talk about an interesting topic, and this came up because I'm networking with somebody who calls herself the Frugal Fragalista, I think it is. Anyway, so I thought it'd be awesome to do a topic on being frugal and what that means. And there's lots of stuff around that, which is cool, about getting what you need and making sensible choices and maybe preserving the planet. So I've entitled today Flourish Frugally.
Oh, I love that. Flourish frugally. Yeah. Well, I took from your original suggestion, frugal fulfillment. I love it.
Yes,
Flourish frugally. Because frugal living means you're living well on less, basically, the way it is. It sums it up.
yes,
And
yes, it does.
it's there's a lot to be said for it because it takes a lot of stress out of your life when you just go, well, I don't really need it. And I know my life, well, I thought at the time, it was a good 10, 11 years ago, came with a massive thudding thump of like, whoa, got divorced and all of a sudden had a lot and then had very little. And I thought, oh, my world was turned upside down. But can I say it's only enhanced my life, realizing that I don't need a lot of stuff that I thought I needed at the time, and a lot happier for having less. You know, it's just causes a lot of clutter when you're acquiring more and more, and then you have to stop and think, why am I acquiring this? Is it for me? Is it to prove things to other people? Is it to keep up with the Joneses? There's a lot of that in this area that I live in, of keeping up with the Joneses type of thing. Cars, you know, jewelry, clothing, and it's a very superficial world, I feel. And yeah, a lot of excess, and the whole world lives with a lot of excess, and we don't need a lot of it. There's so much waste. Something that I'm really that upsets me a lot is waste. It's, you know, it's really, it's unnecessary. Yeah, so living frugally doesn't mean that you're living without fun. It doesn't mean you're going without. It's just meaning, like you mentioned before, just making wiser choices.
So it's interesting. I mean, you talk about, what you've just talked about reminds me of an American called Alfred Sloan. And he used to run General Motors.
Mhm.
And in 1954, he coined the concept of planned obsolescence.
What was it? Planned obsolescence. Hmm.
Yeah, so he started this concept of encouraging people to buy stuff before they needed to, to implement model changes in cars, which spread throughout the automobile industry globally. So, you haven't got the latest Merc or the latest whatever.
Hmm.
So you feel a little bit bad, and then you trade your car in for the latest model. But the other point is they often build, a lot of car makers build cars with parts that will fail, not because they don't know how to do it, but because they do know how to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the reasons why Toyota's got such a brilliant brand name is because some of their products last an incredible time, and they're, repairable.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely the key. You know, as students, it was always to get a good, reliable car that's not going to cost you a fortune to fix. And I've got to say, a lot of the European cars now are made with less quality product, shall we say, so that they have a higher turnover for each service or that sort of thing. I know firsthand all about that.
Yeah, yeah. And there was a guy the best book I read on this was by a guy called Vance Packard, and he wrote a book called The Waste Makers.
Mm-hmm.
It was about this industry of planned obsolescence, or if there's a couple of phrases around it, made to break
Oh,
or
yeah, like,
built to fail.
yeah, good ones.
There's another guy called Moore, there's this law named after him, Moore's Law, and he proposed that computer power, computer speed, computer power, number of then transformer chips would just about double every 2 years.
Whoa.
And if you look at, what's happening to computers and mobile phones,
Yep.
The product cycle is very rapid, and you have something now which is the latest, greatest.
Yeah. Which one are you up to now, Harry? I think are you up to the 11?
In a couple of years' time, it's slow, and you can't upgrade the software on it. I'm hoping to get 4 or 5 years out of this, but who knows?
Well, my phone cost me more than my laptop, and I got the 10XS, and
Yes.
so much memory on there. It's crazy,
but you're feeling a bit sad now because it's not the latest model. You are feeling a bit sad. Come on, Sally, be honest.
I was a bit sad
You're
because
feeling a little bit sad.
$2,500 on this, and then just after that you bought that one, and it had the better camera. I bought it for the camera and the filming.
And how does that make you feel?
Ripped off.
No.
It was a lot of money. A lot of money.
That's right. So that's what this is all about. And there's also an environmental issue around this, that if we're buying something that's not going to last, we're using up finite resources. And there was a wonderful book when I was at uni put up by a group called the Club of Rome, and it was called Limits to Growth. It was about modelling when resources would run out, when the planet would be irreversibly impacted. Now, a lot of the assumptions weren't correct, but the principles are pretty sound. So my model is reward yourself with durable products.
Oh, I love that.
So buy stuff that's going to last. One of the things that really annoys me is around birthdays and Christmas, when you see people giving their children these plastic battery-powered toys that many of them don't last the day. It's horrible. And I'm just going to go off camera for a second to get my favourite toy.
I hope it's G-rated, Harry. Yeah, but you're right. There's nothing worse than those cheap plastic products.
Now, ta-da, camera roll, drums. I made these, and I made many sets of these. No batteries, never break. They're going to outlast me and you.
Oh, what are they?
And every time you use them, you can do something different with them. You can use the creativity.
A block.
It's a wooden block. It's a simple wooden block. It'll last forever. And I have a lot of fun in the clinic with my clients where I encourage them to build, because I have a set in the clinic as well, obviously. I made sets for all my children and all my siblings. And the sets, I think, made out of... Usually I make them out of recycled timber because they're, 100 years old, super hard. But in the clinic, I encourage my clients to build a structure taller than their height. Most of them think they can't do it. Of course, then they do it. And then they knock it down with a ball. I take a slow-mo of it.
Oh, that would look awesome.
They love that.
Yeah.
So, by and large, I pretty much hate toys with batteries because they don't last.
Oh, absolutely.
So,
the $2 shop sums it all up. The really, really cheap plasticky stuff. And,
well, some of the stuff in the $2 shop's okay. I go to the $2 shop to actually buy drawing pads. So that my clients can draw pictures. So they're on low acid paper. They're actually pretty good quality.
But I'm just saying cheap toys that they have there, the really, really cheap toys. Really.
So that's my first word. Reward yourself with durable items.
Love it.
The second concept in my model is repair what breaks. And if you've bought a quality item, you can repair it very often. So the linchpin of my business is audio, music,
Yep.
to repattern the brain, to reconnect the brain. And to listen to music, you need audio gear. Now, the way you can hear audio is actually through headphones. You can't hear it any other way. And so the headphones we have, they come from the US and they're fully repairable. Every part is repairable.
Wow.
The cords will break. We replace the cords with new looms. Drivers break, which is very, very unusual. That's the bit that moves with the piston.
Right. What's a loom as well? I've got no idea.
A loom is, so this is my microphone, that's a loom.
Ah, right.
Goes from, the device to your socket.
Right.
That should be replaceable. So I repaired hundreds and hundreds of sets of headphones. One of the annoying things about Apple products are they make it quite difficult to repair, but they are repairable. And even the old iPods, which we use quite a lot in the practice, the hard drives are replaceable if you can find the right repair guy. So even though Apple refused to repair them anymore, they refuse to repair anything over, I think, 4 years old. But you can go to a tech and get them repaired.
Yep.
So that's important. If you can, pick items that are repairable.
Yep.
See, it's more difficult than it was. And the other thing is when you finish with something, okay, recycle it.
Yes.
Take it back to the op shop, give it to somebody. So I've got quite a nice Yamaha amp, which we actually got from an op shop in Darwin when we lived in Darwin. So that's nearly 20 years ago.
Yep.
My son had it, then he gave it to me. I used it for many years. Then I bought a new amp for Bluetooth so I could run Bluetooth.
Yep.
But I kept the old amp because it still works. And yesterday, one of my boys came round and he wanted an amp for a music room for his kids downstairs. So that's where it went.
Yeah, excellent.
So this amp must be probably 35 years old. Still works fine.
Yeah, fantastic. I think particularly in this isolation time, a lot of people have been doing a lot of spring cleaning. And I know I have towels, sheets, whatever. And, where can they go to a good home? So like the Lost Dogs home and that sort of thing. But I can't handle waste. So I've just said to people, whatever you want, come and take it. Because it's just, I don't need it, but if it can go to a good home, because I just don't want it to go out hard rubbish out on the nature strip. If it can go somewhere and be used again. So
I'll tell you a story that shocked me. So there's a Harvey Norman here in Canberra, and there was a hailstorm in Canberra, and the hailstorm went through the roof of their storage shed, which is enormous.
Oh no, yeah, right.
The roof had some asbestos in it. So the powers that be said that everything in that storage shed, which is absolutely massive,
oh my Lord,
had to go to the tip.
Yeah, that's frightening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
what a waste.
I know it's a waste, and I know it's the OHS and S, whatever, the asbestos, but I know, frightening.
We're talking about hundreds of fridges, hundreds of aircons, massive.
Oh.
The storage shed, it's like an IKEA.
I'm just picturing it now. I mean, clearly that's going to be an insurance job or whatever. So, the money side is all sorted out, but it's the physical waste and all that. Oh my goodness, that's huge. It's huge. It's, as I was saying, my eyes opened a lot through divorce, but also I think through this isolation, it's opened a lot of people's eyes too, because for one, they can't go out, or haven't been able to go out up until now to restaurants and that sort of thing. And, you know, my lifestyle didn't really change, but some of my clients have. And they said, I can't believe how much money I've saved by not going out, and a lot of home cooking and just doing the really fun things at home, which links into my model. We'll finish yours off. But I mean, it's just, I know I've saved petrol from driving around, not so much the restaurants because I didn't go out much, but I know a lot of people have, just the beauty parlours, that sort of thing. So, you know, it's, people have appreciated a lot more what they, when they do have it. I've got a friend who finally got some waxing done yesterday. It was like, it needed the biggest party. It's been months and months of too much hairiness. And they said, I didn't realise how much it was getting me down. It's just like having this constant growth. But that's one side of it. But it is also, you know, people coming back to nature.
Too much information.
Never. But, you know, people are appreciating nature. You know, that's this frugal fulfillment of, like, you don't need to spend a lot of money to have that fun and enjoyment. You know, the walking and getting in touch with nature. I mean, it just fuels my soul. But a lot of people that don't do it often are really connecting. And how many people have gone and got pets and, you know, the fulfillment of walking the pet and having the cuddles and that unconditional love of pets on your lap at night time, and, you know, the community bonding with your family, for example, staying at home, watching Netflix or chatting or dinner time chats. And, you know, just, I think it's been really a big eye-opener that we don't need to be spending so much. And being frugal doesn't mean being tight. It's just meaning being careful about your choices. Or it's not even careful, it's just making informed choices. And, you know, which way do you want to go? I'm really big about the big changes that we've been going through, because it's awesome. Back to basics. It really is back to basics, back to nature, back to family, back to community, back to communication. Yeah, it's been beautiful, actually. And so I think this is a time where people are really realising that they don't need so much to be happy, and don't need it a lot, really, of what we've been going through. But getting back to your model, Harry, so we've got reward, repair, and then recycle. Do you tie them all together?
That's it, pretty much.
I've got a little model here. So mine's a little bit different, but it was more about the back to basics sort of stuff. And first of all, it was when you have more leisure time, where you can, like, exercise in nature, have picnics, where you're doing less. You've got more lounging around, lying in bed, having snuggles, watching telly or Netflix, or spending more time with the family when you've got more leisure time. And then you're learning more because you've got more time perhaps to do more online courses. I know you and I have done a few courses over this ISO time, and that's been really excellent. Listening to audiobooks, or, you know, being like a sponge, Googling stuff and having more time to research. When you, that's been really rejuvenating, I suppose, is my word that I've put it. When you've got more leisure time and constantly learning more, you're rejuvenating yourself and your soul. Then when you're sitting with more leisure time and then actually laughing more, because you're more at peace, you've got more time to just live and be in the moments, laugh more with your tribe, with like-minded people. I mean, the girlfriends and I, the other day when we could finally catch up, there was 5 allowed to get together, and it was a girlfriend's 50th. And we laughed and laughed at all the things that we were doing to try and get by. I tried waxing my eyebrows and took half my eyebrow off, and, you know, funny stuff like that. And just whatever you get up to. But laughing with your mates, laughing over funny books or shows, or laughing with hanging out with people, or, you know, having a chat with you and laughing to point I nearly wet my pants often, you know. It's been great. And laughing more and just having more leisure time just makes me and other people feel more relaxed, I feel. And the last part of my model is when you're constantly learning and upskilling and laughing more, you're just feeling more reinvigorated, so that overall you're just feeling more fulfilled. So that was my sort of model. The L words. It's all about factors.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, if we think about the largest purchase that anybody can make, it's pretty much the house.
Yeah.
And if you think about the running costs for a house, they can be substantial. Whenever we get an electricity bill or gas bill, whoever it is does a little chart.
Yeah, comparison.
How much you do compared to different sized households. And we're always well below the 1-person household.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Because we've selected a house that is appropriate for the climate. So in cold climates, what we can look for is a passive solar house, one that is oriented to face north with eaves to keep out the summer sun but let in the winter sun, probably double glazing, high mass, and that will cut your heating and cooling bill to a fraction.
Yep.
Conversely, if you're living in the subtropics or the tropics, you want a house that's oriented to the breeze so that you catch those cooling breezes and exclude the sun. So that's, that's an important thing. So you need to look beyond the veneer of the fashion and look at its function.
Absolute functionality, all that sort of stuff. Absolutely.
The other thing you can do, this is one of my top tips, one of Harry's top tips for this. If you're getting a tradesman in, say you wanted to build you, say, a fence.
Yep.
Okay. You get him in. Quote for a fence, and he'll give you a quote. $5,000, whatever it is.
Yep.
And then you say, that's great. Now, what would you charge me if you were building this same fence for yourself? And he looked down and he said, well, it's going to cost a bit more. And you say, yeah, well, what would it be? You say, okay, it'll be 5.5. And then you get a proper fence.
Yeah. I like that one. Yeah, because that's what you said before. It's quality, right? You just want to put in the best quality that's going to stand the test of time.
And when you buy something, you won't remember the price, but you will remember the quality.
Yep, absolutely. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
I've got, 3 steps that I've got in line with, stepping into being frugal and being fulfilled is number 1, and we've already spoken about it, choose wisely, set a budget and live within your means. If you don't have it, you can't spend it. And, choose to save, not spend. I know that that's how I live my life, and it's so much, it's less stress. It's fantastic. You can only, if you don't have it, you can't spend it. I just love it. Number 2, be creative with your ways of spending and like entertaining, cooking, shopping, etc. We don't have to spend a fortune, and back to basics is always the way to go, I've found. And the 3rd thing is cherish the moments and not the material things. It's the moments that count. So it's not about having the latest and greatest. It's about how you're utilising what you do have, your time and energy, where you're spending it. So, yeah, because as I said before, frugal living means you're living well on less. So, yeah, and having more fun.
So you've been a lucky girl there, Sally. I can see behind you some flowers.
I know. I was very blessed. I've actually got another set as well. Girlfriend bought me some roses, and then a friend brought me these tulips, and I just sort of opened up today, and I loved the colour. So, yes, it was kind of in half of my clothes on, so my leggings down here. But, yeah.
Oh, excellent.
And I think overall you can plan and create fun enjoyment with any situation. And it doesn't have to require a lot of money. It doesn't have to require any money at all. So imagine having a weekend where you don't spend any money. Imagine that.
Absolutely. Like walking is a good example.
Sleeping, meditating, lying in bed, snuggles and cuddles. That's free.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Sally, it's been wonderful talking to you again.
Likewise, yes. My kids.
And I hope you frugally flourish this year, this month, this week, this decade.
Yes, as long as those utility bills don't start flying in with the heating cost. OMG! But, once again, put another jumper on and turn the thingy off. I really like your house, as you said before, because it allows so much sunlight in, and it's such a beautiful angle, whatever position that you've got there with the beautiful deck that you put up. It's just beautiful. And you get those beautiful blue skies during winter in Canberra. We don't get it quite as much down here, but.
So the deck I built, I found a builder and waited for him to come, but it's built out of steel, so it'll outlast the suburb.
Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
yeah, it's absolutely. It's too funny. Well, on that note, Harry, well, I shall bid you adieu and see
Yeah.
you next week.
Yes. À demain.
Yeah, that's it. It was just my brain's gone fuggy.
Just
Foggy.
means tomorrow.
Yeah.
Just means see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Means means at, and
Yeah,
demain is tomorrow.
that's right. It's French. Yeah. Yeah. Well, adieu to you and you and you. Okay, see you later. Bye.